Hello, hello, and welcome. I am so excited to be here with you, my friends. And today is a new day. It's a new beginning. It's Monday. Might be morning for you, might be afternoon. But let's start it strong. Let's start it engaging. Let's start it with a lot of energy to boost that from within us and also to share it with others so we can have a great set for this day and for the whole week ahead. My friends, I am so excited and so honored that you are joining today. My name is Jana Masik. I am the host of this LinkedIn Live broadcast, Powering Unique You. It's all about having conversations to help us feel empowered, to help us feel energized, and really set the stage for achieving the results we want to get in our lives and careers. So today, my friend, I have a very interesting, very fascinating, amazing, and wise guest. This lady, I'm just honored to have her come and be a guest and share her wisdom with us. She has a phenomenal, amazing career. And she explored human behavior and asked tough questions and discovered hard truth for over 35 years. She believes in power of fearlessness. Fearlessness is something we're going to talk about today for sure. And she believes that you and I can create the life and the career that we want. As a motivational speaker and professional coach, and author of Fearless Factor and many other books, Jacqueline has helped many, many people to feel more empowered, confident, and resilient. Without further ado, I'm so happy to bring Jacqueline Wales here. Hello, Jacqueline. How are you?
I'm great, Shauna. Thank you so much for having me and that wonderful introduction. I really appreciated that.
It's really my pleasure. I feel that in a little bit of what we had before we went live in the conversation, we have so much to touch upon, and you have so much wealth of knowledge, not just behind you in the books that we can see, but so much more in your heart and in your mind and in the wisdom that you have. Jacqueline, I'm really happy to have you here. And as you're coming to join in our conversation, please say hello. Let us know where you're coming from. Ask questions. This episode is all for you. This episode is all about how to help you become more empowered, confident, and resilient. Who doesn't want that? I want that.
Well, I love the title of your show, Powering Unique You, because discovering the uniqueness of who you are is really what allows us to accelerate our career and become fearless and definitely create more success in our lives. So I love your topic. So real happy to be.
Yeah. I agree with you. It's really embracing who we are. And I would love for you to share some personal experience and story that have motivated or became maybe a ground for your work and for your mission in life right now.
So I'm often asked this question about why fear and why was it that I was attracted to helping people become fearless. And right from the get-go, let's just say this. Fear, for the most part, is imagination-based. It's a label that we put on our anxieties and our uncertainties, and it's the ways in which we hold ourselves back from taking that next step. So I like to say being fearless is not the absence of fear, but the courage to take the next step. It's that simple. And yet we make it so very complicated because frequently we don't want to face our fears. And if we go into my history on this, I grew up in a family where fear was absolutely rampant. Tremendous amount of violence and emotional abuse and so on and so forth. So you learn at a very early age that you don't trust people, number one. And fear is associated with not trusting yourself, that you can handle whatever comes your way, or trusting others to be able to deliver what they say they'll deliver. And when you grow up in an uncertain environment like I did, it totally lends itself to that idea that you never know where something's coming from. So you're always on guard. We talk about in the fencing world, on guard. Well, on guard is basically I'm ready for the fight. So in fear, it's the fight or the flight response. It's very primitive, locked away in the back end of our brains, and has
Yes.
been there forever as part of our
Yeah.
survival. I mean, that's very simple. But in my own life, I created a lot of behaviors based on fear that were not serving me. I had a whole bunch of stuff with drugs and alcohol. I had children born outside of marriage, and I gave my children up for adoption, and then I left the child with his father. And I had a lot of soul searching going on for about the first 35 years of my life. So I've been doing this work for 35 years, and that first 35 years was a little bit messy, to say the least. It gives you an idea of the lifespan at this point in time. But I have spent the better part of the last 35 years exploring my own internal behaviors, my
Mm.
own thinking, and being able to really reform and redefine who I am, the uniqueness of me. So, learning how to write books was a big piece. Learning how to make music was a big piece. I took up martial arts when I was in my 40s, and that became a big piece of my life too. I've had 4 children at this point, and I would like to say that even with all the history of messiness of motherhood and children, I have fabulous relationships with every one of them because I worked on it. Because you don't get that without working on it. So getting some truth with self was really a big, big piece of this. And when I
Mhm.
started my career as a coach and a facilitator, I came into this with the knowledge that I had had all these worldly experiences. I've lived all over the globe. I was born in Edinburgh, moved to London, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Paris, Amsterdam, Bali, New York, and now back to the Northern California, San Francisco area. So, there's been a global journey, and around the globe has come many, many different experiences that I've used to tap into. And now my work is all about how can I help individuals break through their fear barriers in the quickest amount of time? Because we
Mhm.
all dwell in our excuses, we dwell in our avoidance, we dwell in that place of I'm not good enough, which is fundamental to the fear. I'm not good enough. So how do
Yes.
we break through those barriers?
Wow. Wow. Your story really gives me a lot of emotion, a lot of chills, and I say it's a lot of inspiration at the same time. It's an inspiration that you could pivot your life completely at any point. It doesn't matter your age, the stage of your life, where you are in your career. Doesn't matter, that you may think the past is so horrible. There is always an opportunity. Every day we have an opportunity to pivot and change the way we think. And I love that you're framing it that way, that it is internal work that has manifested changes outside of you. Change the way we think, change the way we see ourselves, change the way we value ourselves, and what we even, consider who we are, how we discover who we truly are, how we start learning new things. Your story is truly inspirational, Jacqueline. I really admire you. And it shows that fear can hold you back in places that, internal places, I feel, that prevent you from achieving the potential and achieving the greatness that you can achieve. So I'm so happy you're helping us today to really look into this and discover how can we learn and grow, how can we thrive and push through that fear, and maybe how can we overcome that fear that really inhibits that potential. Maybe some advice that you can give us for those that feel held. And I say, for the most part right now, people are fearful to step out of their comfort zone and start sharing their thoughts, start sharing their lessons that they're learning on social media, specifically on LinkedIn. A lot of professionals, I feel, held back by fears. So something that you could recommend to us, how can we overcome it?
Yeah, I mean, right now we are living in a very uncertain time, and my position has always been, if you're going to do change, you've got to get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
The piece for a lot of professionals is the vulnerability. If I expose my weaknesses, if I expose that I'm not feeling 100%, then someone's going to take advantage of me. So here's the piece about that, and I mentioned it briefly. If you don't trust yourself to handle whatever it is that comes your way, you're not going to trust others to do the right thing by you. So
Mm,
you're living in that fear bubble, and it's just one bubble out of many types of fear bubbles. But if you're living in that fear bubble, you'll never show up authentically. You're always going to show up as a version of what other people want from you or what other people expect from you. So, there's this piece here about, you talk about unique you. Well, you cannot bring your unique you and the authentic you if you're constantly wearing a mask. It's
yes.
this is who I am when I go to work, but when I go home, I become somebody else. And so this dual personality thing, for most people, really doesn't work well. But a lot of it is based on insecurity. A lot of it is based on maybe the expectations of what your organization wants from you.
Mhm.
That we're not given permission to show up uniquely in many aspects of our work life. And I say that because I've seen so many examples of people who just keep their head down and get on with it. And whatever's going on internally, that's a whole other story. But
Yes.
key piece about fear is I say it's imagination based for a reason. It's to do with our thinking. Fear is an emotion. The emotion sets up a thinking, and the thinking sets up behavior. It's a very simple chain in many ways, but it's complicated. It's
Mhm.
complicated by that piece in the middle, the thinking, that gets in our way. And most of it comes from that negative frame of mind. And for many people, the fear is about what's going to happen in the future. So right now, we've been living through a pandemic where we're all being asked to redefine our lives in many, many ways. And the stress for some people has been enormous for many, many reasons. I mean, we've lost hundreds of thousands of people this year. So there's a lot of grief and a lot of loss in this country at this point in time. And there's a lot of people thinking, is this all there is? Is there nothing more? And of course, if you hold that way of thinking, the answer is quite clearly, yeah, well, this is it. But I like to frame it this way. I say, here's the deal. Whatever's happened in the past has already gone. Okay, it's a story. And people always say to me, how can you tell the story of all the things you've gone through and be so, casual about it all? Well, it's a story. It's no longer part of my life in the present. And the present is our only reality. This is it. This moment right now is our reality. Even our conversation 5 minutes ago, even though it's recorded, is already gone. And I can't remember what I told you. So there it is. So we look forward to the future. But when you
Yes.
look forward to the future with dread, when you look forward to the future with all the things that can go wrong, you're robbing yourself of the present moment where you can create something beautiful and you can create the life that you really want. Now, that might sound a little too kind of woo-woo for a lot of people, but the truth of the matter is your actions and your choices in this very moment are what will give you the future that you desire.
Wow. Wow. Simple, yet I say so powerful. I would have to go and re-listen to this whole the whole piece that you've just shared. There's so much meat to that. I feel some conversations can be watered down milk that are just listen to it, drink it, digest it. I feel our conversation is like big steak that you don't just chew it and like one time and swallow. You gotta have to really process it and think about it. And I feel that there's so much meat in that because you are speaking from experience, and there's also weight in your words that you don't have past. And it seems simple, as you said. It seems simple. We don't have past, yet we are so dreadful and fearful of what that future may look like even tomorrow, especially when you have no means to pay bills, or you do not know where are you going to have a next paycheck or not, and are you going to pay your mortgage or rent. It's horrifying. And then on top of that, there are fears of, are you going to get infected, are you going to have problems with this or that. So it's a trajectory, and then you attach the emotion to that. That's how I understood it. You attach the emotion to these trajectory fears into the future, and you start thinking about it, and it manifests in your behavior. And in this way, you rob yourself of joy, and you rob yourself of blessing of this moment, because it is in this moment, as you said, I feel it's so powerful. It is in this moment that we can make a difference and we can make choices. And when we start shifting our focus from what ifs to right now and look at this, I'm healthy, I have food on the table. It may not be fancy food, but we have what we need to sustain ourselves. My kids are healthy. What else do I worry about? Tomorrow's going to have their own worries. So it is really powerful, but at the same time, I hear you saying it unlocks an opportunity for you to create a brighter tomorrow. When you do that, when you embrace the moment and you live in the moment, it gives you an opportunity to almost overcome, like you said, overcome through that fear and recreate that abundance of living and thinking and enjoying life of the present in your future as well.
And I'm not saying that that's easy to do, by the way.
Yes.
We are conditioned to think a certain way. We're conditioned to behave a certain way. And when we choose to do it differently, it feels awkward. It feels unsettled. It feels like I really don't know what it is I'm doing. And from that point of view, it's sometimes easier just to kind of roll backwards into the familiar. But what I said earlier about get comfortable being uncomfortable is about challenging yourself every time to take that next step, because my argument has always been fearlessness is simply the courage to take the next step. Fearlessness is the willingness to look your fears in the face and say, are you real? Is it true? Is it true that I'm going to be broken 6 months from now?
Yeah.
I don't know. Is it true that I'm going to catch COVID? I don't know.
I don't know.
So you have to look at the I don't knows. And if you have no empirical evidence for it, then you're just making it up. It's brain work, but it's brain work from a negative point of view. And that's another piece where you got to look at it is, you can think negatively or you can think positively. You have a choice always.
Oh my.
But if you're conditioned to go negative, and I was conditioned to go negative for a long, long time.
Yes.
You got to learn how to think. No, that's not how I want to go. It's work. And that's the truth of the matter. It takes work.
It takes work.
To my clients all the time. It's like going to the AA program. It works if you work it, is their slogan. And it's the same thing for change. And that's what AA is all about, is change, of course. It works if you work it.
And that is a very interesting parallel as you speak about it. Even if you want to manifest a different difference in your body and your wellness, right? It's your habit and your thinking about yourself, and it requires work. If you want to bring your physical shape from one stage to another stage, you gotta have to most likely put in the work every day. And by sitting there on the sofa and watching TV all day, you're not going to achieve the results that you want. You can just think about them in your head and imagine, but it's not going to manifest in life. And I almost feel that is so true to internal work, that if you want to change how you see yourself, if you want to feel more empowered, confident, and resilient, as we speak about today, you're going to have to start working on that internal muscle, that process of thinking, the framing, how you frame your thoughts about yourself, your projection in the future, the emotion. How do you dwell on a negative emotion, or do you pull yourself out of it and project again yourself into what possibly can happen, in a brighter light? And that requires a lot of work. I agree with you, Jacqueline. I want to acknowledge we have, looks like quite an international attendance today. We have a LinkedIn user from Mumbai. Before we talked a little bit about so true, age is just a number, add value to our experience, never late to change, never late to start a brand new page. Every day is an opportunity. Pablo is saying hello from Costa Rica. We have Mehdi saying hello from Algeria. So excited to have you here. Let us know if you have any questions. And this conversation is, I feel, very selfish that it is so interesting for me, but I'm so happy also in a way selflessly to be able to share it with everybody as we speak about very important things today, Jacqueline. How about stepping beyond uncertainty? Uh, um, so we talked about thriving through fear. We talked about, we're stepping beyond the uncertainty. And how do we do this? We change the inner dialogue. You said we reframe the situation and we flip the script to make a difference. And then shifting into overdrive for change. This is a very interesting concept. Can you share some thoughts on this? How do we apply this practically in our life?
So when I say shifting into overdrive for change, first of all, there's a commitment. And you mentioned earlier about the physical piece. Now, I did martial arts for several years, and I have a black belt in karate. I also have a red belt in taekwondo, and I'm currently doing CrossFit. So for me, physical has been very, very important in my life. It lets the energy out. I have a lot of energy, a lot of passion. So the 6 things that I learned in martial arts applied to success in life. Number 1, and this is how you go into overdrive, you've got to be committed. So if we take the analogy of a fight, you've got to be committed to be in the fight. So therefore, here we are, we're doing it. Commitment. Number 2 is you've got to be focused on your opponent. You've got to be focused on what it is that you want to be doing. This is a very important piece. And it's not about focusing broadly, but it's about focusing singularly. So if you're with an opponent, you're actually looking in their eyes, waiting for them to telegraph which movement they're going to be making next, because you can see everything when you look in someone's eyes. You don't need to be looking at arms and legs. So just notice where you're focusing. The third piece of that is discipline. Now, you need thousands of hours of discipline in order to be able to show up and do it without thinking. And certainly that's very true when you're in a fight. You want to be able to know exactly what kind of movements you're supposed to be making. The next piece of this, the fourth piece of this, is follow through. Somebody throws a punch, you want to be able to follow it up. Otherwise, you're down on the floor, it's over, forget it. Yeah. You need follow through. Then you need consistency. Consistency is everything. And that's where a lot of people fall down, including me. I'll be honest with you. Consistency is not my favorite word because I'm frequently inconsistent. But consistency is important if we are to succeed at anything. Yes. Then the last piece of this is perseverance. When you fall down, you get back up. Fall down, you get back up. That's the failure thing. And I like to say we're all failing our way to success, because failure and success are 2 sides of the same coin. And they frequently are leading us in the same direction, which many people don't actually appreciate, but that's the deal. So these 6 things of commitment, focus, discipline, follow through, consistency, and perseverance, these are what I call your leadership muscles. And if you want to go into overdrive for change, and if you can apply all of these things, then change happens. Then change happens. But you've got to be willing to be uncomfortable. And if you're uncomfortable, and if you're sitting in fear with that, oh, I don't know if I can do this, I don't know if I'm capable, I don't know, my stomach is killing me, my palms are sweating. I was a public performer for a while, and I'll tell you, those first couple of notes that came out of my throat were kind of a little bit tied up at the back there. And then I would get relaxed, and out it would come, and I would do my thing. So, there's this piece that to get overdrive of change, you've got to be really willing to do those 6 steps. And it's almost like this is your Bible, if you like. This is a piece that you can put on your wall and say, am I committed? Am I focused? Am I disciplined? Am I following through? Am I consistent? And am I persevering? If you can answer yes to 5 of those, you're doing pretty good.
Yeah. Yes, I love it. I love this framework, and I'm going to follow through and actually write it down, because I can see that manifested in my life. And to listening to what you're saying, I feel my challenges are inconsistency before. And then I figured out, and I like it that because you don't have to be consistent necessarily for 2 hours every day. You know, you set your own rhythm of consistency. And for me, how to push myself out of comfort zone to be consistent, and particularly being consistent on LinkedIn and showing up and sharing insights and helping people grow and helping people feel empowered, is to create this show. So I said, I'm struggling with doing small videos here and there. There's too much going on. So I set up myself to say, I'm going to do lives. That was very uncomfortable. I didn't know what I was doing. I felt like these butterflies in the gasa you just described, but I'm going to commit to doing them every week on consistently, and pushing and almost showing it on the top of my profile saying I'm doing this every week had pushed me to get into that consistency that created then a flow and many other opportunities that came out of it. So this is so true. And the other thing that I feel has held me back before is focus, because like you said, you have to focus on a specific thing that is in front of you that you want to achieve in order to achieve it. And I was just all over the places. I wanted this and I wanted that direction and this direction. And my tendency is just to pile many things on my plate. And then because it's so much and because it's so unfocused, I'm not good at any of those directions or, desires or goals. So that is so key. And focusing, resilience, courage, as you explained, these steps, I feel like, do the rating as you're listening in. Write down those steps and rate yourself on a scale. Where are you on the scale with those? This is really insightful way to do self-reflection in your particular goal that you may want to, achieve, or even in the change that you want to create for yourself, right? Really good.
It can be very, very powerful. And to your point, we're always in a state of evolution. There's always things that we can continue to learn. And what you just mentioned earlier about the bright, shiny object syndrome, a lot of creative people have the bright, shiny object syndrome, including me. It's like, yeah, let's run over there. That looks really good. Let's do that. Oh, I have a certification. Yeah, let's go do that. And so this becomes the kind of like that's going on.
Yes.
And as you say, none of it gets done with any great success, because again, you're just, a bit of this and a bit of that. But what I've learned is that if I can stay focused, if I can really stick with something, then great things come out of it. And that took a bit of doing, because I was bright, shiny object for a long time.
I feel like I've been like that as well, so I can relate to this. And thank you for sharing with your journey that I'm not the only one. And it's really a struggle, especially that you feel passionate that you can succeed in many different directions. And still, when I catch myself on this thought to this day, like, okay, Jana, redirect yourself, focus. And it was like a sticky note on my laptop for a period of time where I'll just write down big letters, focus, pay attention, what you need to be looking at. So it's almost like putting your blinders that the horse has to focus on winning the race, right? Not to look in different directions. So it's the same way. You're going to have to put these blinders for yourself and really feel dedicated to work on what's going to
be mindful of the blinders, because here's the thing about blinders. It can create a very myopic point of view. You still want to be able to see broadly, but you want to be able to channel it so that you're going forward in a direction that matters to you and that makes a difference to you. But you've also got to be able to make sure that your peripheral vision is unimpeded.
You don't miss opportunities that way, right? Yeah. So this is really good. Great point. I love it. Absolutely wonderful. And as we talk about, there's so much in there, Jacqueline. I'm just so excited myself to have this amazing conversation with you. Please share with us how to unlock secrets of fairness. I know there's some secrets, some insights that you can share with us. So maybe what are the 3 things people can focus on so they can change their behavior thinking and unlock those secrets? How to become fearless, how to achieve what you want to achieve.
So I've said it a couple of times already, but here's in case it was missed. Here's the deal. When you're feeling fear, and fear shows up as, that knot in your stomach, that chatter in your head that goes, oh no, not really, can't do that, blah, 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 blah. Really sit with yourself and ask yourself, is it true that I cannot get what I want? Is it true that I'm not capable? Is it true that I'm not good enough? Is it true that I need more credentials? And really explore that particular piece, because a lot of what happens in life is we don't take enough time for self-reflection. We don't really sit down. It's like my book, The Fearless Factor and The Fearless Factor at Work. Both of those books have at the end of every section a series of questions. And the questions are designed to get you to really get honest with yourself, to get truthful about who I am, what matters to me, and what is my dream? Where's my vision? Where do I want to be going? So when you find yourself wanting to contradict that vision, like, I want to be successful, blah, 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 and you find yourself pulling away from it, ask yourself, why? What about that matters to me? Because we're very good at self-sabotage. We're very good at, undermining ourselves in a clear way. So again, that self-analysis becomes one of the secrets per se, but it's not a secret. It's just simply show up to your BS. That's really what it is. It's like I say to my clients, if you're going to tell me BS, I'll tell you it's BS. And then we'll work our way through it, create a different story. And there's a piece right there. What is the story that you tell yourself about who you are? Is it true? Maybe not. Maybe somebody in a period of your lifetime told you otherwise, and you believed it. So I run a program where one of the first parts of the program is examining your limiting beliefs, because we all have limiting beliefs.
Yes.
So there's a way there to really, look at how do we become more fearless. And again, think about what I said earlier. This is absolutely my fundamental idea. Being fearless is not the absence of fear, but the courage to take the next step. Because when you take the next step and you take the next step and you take the next step, then suddenly you notice, I'm not as fearful as I used to be.
Yeah.
Because life starts working in your favor, because you're no longer fighting it. The universe is not out to get you. You're out to get yourself. That's a big piece right there. We're out to get ourselves, because nobody else is out there waiting to get you. So if you're feeling like somebody else is getting in my way, or I'm not getting the jobs that I want, or I'm not making the money that I want, take a hard look at what you're doing and the choices you're making that maybe will shift the needle for you.
Wow.
So there's another way of thinking about how do you get fearless and be comfortable being uncomfortable. Change doesn't happen overnight.
Yes.
It's behavior. And I do a lot of behavioral assessments for people. And what I found is that a lot of the behaviors that are operating in people's lives, they're fear-based. And you're not living up to your potential. You cannot be a unique you as long as you're fighting against you. And God knows I fought against myself for a long time. Other people saw it. Other people would look at me and go, but there's so much more. I didn't see it.
Yes.
Took me a long time to figure it out. So now I've got the tools and the insights where I can say to people, let me show you the shortcuts. Because we don't need to hang around in this stuff.
I love it. This is truly fascinating that you've lived through this experiences, and something that you said stood out to me to say, other people saw your potential. They saw there's so much more for you in you. And there's so much more than you can create and manifest, and you didn't. And I think that is what holds many people in that internal prison. Like you said, the world is not out there to get you. It is our internal limiting beliefs, that fear-based thinking and mentality that we internalize, and then we project it outside. And it's almost like, because you are in that prison internally, sometimes you have to be the one to unlock that door from inside. you know, there are ways that others can help you to maybe, realize it, but you really got to be the one to unlock the keys. And I really admire what you do, is you shorten that period of time for people that realize they want change, they need change, they want to become more empowered, they want to be more confident, they want to be resilient, but sometimes they don't even know where to start. There's just so many things. They don't even know where to start. Where are the keys? I'm in so much darkness. I'm in this cell. Where can I find the keys to unlock myself out of that cell? So what you do, I feel, from our conversation, you come in with a big flashlight and you kind of shine in a cell and say, let's explore, all the corners over there. And here are the keys over there. Go grab them, open up, go free. So, and you save people time. You save people precious time, which equals to their life, which equals to the opportunities, which equals to shorten up that prison time and really be free to, as you gave us this inspiration, to explore, to learn how to write books, to become active and learn some physical, strengths, gain some physical strength, train your body, train your mind, and truly live the life that you love in this moment, right? Not looking back and pity yourself for what had happened, not to project what may happen wrong, but to say, I want to be free, and how to start it, how to start that journey. So tell us how people can find you, the ones that you feel that you're sitting in a cell, you do not have any light to find your keys, how people can find you so you can come with the flashlight and help them to unlock that themselves from that cell.
I love the image of the flashlight in a dark room, and it brings back a memory for me of being in a dark room. And the vision was there was a window high up in the wall, and the light was coming in through that window. And here I was in this very dark room, and I knew I had to get out of that window to go to the light. So your analogy there is really quite resonant with me, because it brought back that particular memory, because I was in darkness at that point. So yeah, we all have the key. It's there, and I will help you unlock it. Currently, they can find me at my website, thefearlessfactor@work.com. And I'd also like to just give a shout out to, I'm doing a 6-week program on accelerated change. And it's primarily for senior professional women who are ready to take their game to the next level. And so if you're interested, go to the website, take a look. It's by application only. Small group forum, 6 to 8 people. I like to work with small groups. But that's how we accelerate change, is we connect, and through coaching and through materials and so forth. There's all kinds of ways in which I can help you tune into the BS of who you are, because we all have BS.
all sorts of it, and especially it's so easy to hide it in the darkness and don't even be aware of it, right? And I agree with this analogy that when we are internally in darkness, we're not even aware. When your home is dark, you don't know how dusty it is, and when you let the light shine, you're like, oh my goodness, there's so much piles of dust here and there. You become more aware of it. So the light always brings the awareness. And sometimes we are so we're so in our deep dark in our situation that we cannot even get like a candle on. We need some help to give us a perspective, to give us a new vision. Like you said, that people see our potential much bigger sometimes that we can see, and shine that light in and say, come on out and come, let's enjoy the light, let's enjoy the life, let's enjoy, and the beautiful, create the beautiful reality that you are so worthy, and you can certainly create it by unlocking yourself free. So this is amazing, and I encourage you, if you didn't get inspired today, I think you absolutely are inspired just as I am. Go find Jacqueline on LinkedIn, send her a message, send her a connect request, follow her work, and definitely I will be following your work as well. Jacqueline, you have so much to help, I feel, many people in this world, and this is really admirable.
Thank you very much.
We have Keith, my friend, saying hello to Jana and Jacqueline from Columbus, Indiana. Keith is also, his mission is to change the world. And what he inspired me is to learn how to give positive feedback to people and then create this ripple effect of positivity. Because when we give positive feedback, it's like bringing a little bit of light into their darkness, and they realize and they say, wow, yes, you could. But it also feels good when you do that as well. So it's really something always to learn from people we can exchange. And that's why I feel it is so powerful to create conversations, to create new connections, to find people. And when you look at somebody that does the work that you admire, reach out to that person, right? And say, can we have a conversation? How can we maybe collaborate? How can we work together? So I encourage you to reach out to Jacqueline. And as we close, Jacqueline, anything that you would like to give, like a giveaway, 2-3 things that the most important takeaways for today?
I think the first thing I would think of is question everything. Question you, question your motives, question what it is that you want out of life. Really ask the hard questions. Stay curious. That's a big piece for me. Staying open, curious about, don't shut yourself down by thinking you know it all, because you don't. And so, stay curious, stay open, ask lots of questions. That would be number one. Trust yourself. Number two, trust yourself. No second guessing, no self-doubt, just simply it is what it is and deal with it. And remember that this present moment is your moment of choice, your moment where you can make a different decision and you can do things differently. And remember, fear is simply fearless is simply the courage to take the next step. So take the next step. See where it gets you. My tagline is be fearless, see where it gets you. So take the next step and see where it gets you.
That is wonderful. Thank you so much for coming today, sharing your story, sharing your wisdom, your insights. So much meat, such a great steak you shared in today. A lot of things to chew on. Jacqueline, you're a treasure. I appreciate you so much.
Well, thank you, Jana. I appreciated being here. It's been a great conversation. Thank you.
Likewise. So what is happening? I think good. I'm so happy you tuned in today, and I am so grateful and thankful that we could have this conversation today. I will excited to see you again next week. Until then, see you soon.